Mwalimu wa math ulisema siwezi enda mbali. Hapa ni wapi?
It's a phrase used by those who've made it in life. But for Florida-based Bob Mwiti, his is a different case.
It will be my first time out of Kenya.
Yes, Bob is actually taking his mathematics teacher to the US as a thank you to the person who helped him become the man he is.
Nimefika. Okay. I bought him shoes, which he remembers even today.
Plus, how they're working together in finding more education opportunities for Kenyan students abroad through Bob's International Scholars Program.
I am the period team supervisor, the whole of Kenya.
This, as King's developers share why investing in any of their properties is a no-brainer.
With me, it was the number of units per floor.
We're giving you luxury, we're giving you convenience.
Bob Mwiti. We featured him before on this show and documented the amazing stories of students who have gone to the US for further studies courtesy his International Scholars Program. And today we bring you a story not of a student he has taken to the US, but a story about his teacher. Yes, Bob gave him a treat by flying him to the US, and here is his journey.
If you had told a young Gideon Miruki that one day he would be flying to the US courtesy of one of his former primary school students, he might not have believed you. The student, Florida-based Bob Mwiti, a friend to the show, who for the last 6 years has been finding opportunity for students to pursue master's education abroad.
It will be my first time out of Kenya. So it will be an historical event for me in my lifetime. I was posted to Gekumene way back 1984. I was a mathematics teacher. Bob met me in his school when he was at nursery classes. So throughout his primary education, we had been together. Wow. So this is now where the relationship grew to the highest.
I was a very good student generally, and I think math was my favorite subject. So because of that, he used to support me a lot, help me, in case of, sometimes you do extra assignments and I would take to him, he would, you look at them, do all that. So he really supported me, and he's one of those teachers that I went through who was genuinely interested in seeing me succeed.
He was sharp, very obedient, eager to know, eager to learn. He was a brilliant boy. One
of the things that actually I remember very well is that that time when I did my KCP, I passed very well. Actually, I was among the top students in Meru County. And I got an opportunity to go and study at Nairobi School, but I couldn't go because I grew up in very humble family with my grandparents, and I couldn't go to Nairobi School. So he's one of those teachers actually who took the initiative to look for another school for me. And I ended up going to a school called Nkobo High School in Meru County. And then also at the same time, the day that I was going to school, he bought me a pair of shoes. He realized that my shoes were not, they were kind of worn out. So he gave me 1,000 shillings and he told me to go because I met him in town when we were taking the matatu to go to school. And he was like, go and get some shoes from the butter shop that was closed there. And I went and got some new shoes.
It is this kind of support from the likes of Mwalimu Gideon, nicknamed Power by his students, that manifested into Bob finding his way to the United States in pursuit of further education, and while there, the idea for the International Scholars Program, formerly the Airlift Program, was born.
I started the program in 2018 having been to the US as a master's student, and that journey for me coming to the US was very, very challenging. I was denied visa so many times. In fact, actually, I came here at my 5th attempt of looking for a visa. And of course, that journey also figuring out the schools and all that also, it was a journey that was very challenging. Now, when I got here as a master's student and I graduated, I got a very nice job working as a systems analyst, implementing IT projects for some of the biggest, companies based here in the US. And when I got into that industry, I felt like there was not really many people of my background who were into that space, STEM space, technology space. And I felt there was a need for me to find a way of connecting them with the opportunities that are usually on this side. And I felt like the best way that I can be able to do that is maybe bring somebody here as a student, because that journey, like I've told you, of me coming to the US was challenging for me. And I felt like there was a lot of pieces within that whole process that needed somebody to solve the problems around that, that process. And issues to do with funding, studying here is very costly. It can cost you around $50,000 for you to pursue a master's program. Even that process of coming here, it's very expensive. You need money for air tickets, visa fees, something called service, entrance exams, evaluation of transcript, enrollment deposits, any medicals. So it's a process that requires typically about $5,000. So I thought about it and I was like, you know what, I can actually come up with a solution that is able to support those bright Kenyans or Africans who may be interested in the opportunities that are on this other side.
And best believe, Mwalimu Power was part and parcel.
Initially, when we started the program, we didn't have any office in Kenya, so we are basically running the program out of here. And so when I used to go home and try to, mobilize students and recruit students, because when we started this program, it was just me, man. Like I would go home, try to look for students and all that. But at some point, because like I've told you, I've always been in touch with him. So he knew what was going on. He told me like, he would like to, talk to a few students from his village and then bring them to me and then I can talk to them, And he did that 2-3 times. And I was like, if he can be able to mobilize a few students here and there, yeah, why can't I engage him to, to do this on a consistent basis and see whether he can be able to mobilize more. And that's how we started.
Fast forward, and after months of anticipation, Power's dream and Bob's invitation became reality.
Nimefika.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was the trip?
The trip was nice and exciting. Yeah, although it was very tired.
The highlight of the whole trip was him visiting so many states. A few days of being here, we decided to go on a road trip across America. We live in Tampa, Florida, so we went on a road trip. So we decided not to take the airplane, just take a road trip. We get on my car and drive around. I love driving.
From Florida to Georgia, south to North Carolina, Virginia to Washington, D.C.
He visited the White House, the Pentagon, the Capitol. There's a friend of his that last time they met was 50 years ago at Meru Teachers College. So, and we reached out to the guy and he was somewhere in Maryland. So I made sure also we went there. They met for the first time. It was so emotional.
Truly, one for the record books. But the trip also had another silent objective, given that Power is the International Scholars Program's field team supervisor.
Part of the trip was also for me to show him some of the universities that we work with, meet some of the students as well, because also some of these students have been recruited by him. So they know him. So we wanted to go and see some of these universities. We went to University of Delaware, where the current president of the US went to school. Yeah, we took a lot of pictures. Then finally, we ended up going to the school that I went to.
Currently, the International Scholars Program has a community of over 2,000 members with over 500 students already in the US.
Right now, we are accommodating all students across the world, not just Kenyans. We have Kenyans, of course, they are the majority, but we have students from South Sudan, we have students from Tanzania, we have students from Nigeria, we have students from Zambia, we have students from Togo. So, and right now, you have since we rebranded the program, we've had a lot of inquiries from students outside of Africa, from as far as Australia, New Zealand, I don't know, Papua New Guinea. It's crazy. We normally finance the students in terms of their relocation, tuition, and living expenses. Also, we've been able to get scholarships, tuition fee waivers, grants through the universities that we currently work with. We have about over 20 universities that we are partners with. And of course, also for that portion of the relocation expenses, we've been able to facilitate unsecured loans for that portion of more than $1 million since inception. So we've grown.
In addition, Bob has been able to open offices in Meru, Nairobi and Zimbabwe, where his wife hails from. His is a testament to what one can achieve when given a chance by the right people.
When it becomes great, I also become great. When it expands, I also expand. He's doing an amazing job in that he's giving back now to the community. I have witnessed him pay school fees for the Nindi at his former secondary school, that is in Kobo.
When you get blessed and, blessed financially, it's always good to look back and try to, support your community in one way or another. I always see a lot of people mocking Mwalimu all the time, on the internet. And I think what we need to do is support our communities more, especially if you are blessed in a way that you can be able to impact lives for the community. So you don't have to bring somebody all the way to the US, but just do something. Just do something to the community. And the more you give back, the more you get blessed. So that's really my message.
And that's what Daring Abroad is all about.
Wow, what a way to appreciate your teacher, and specifically Mwalimu wa Maths. Well done, Bob Mwiti, and kudos to Mwalimu Power for your contribution towards Bob's success. We now move into our next story, and it's about King's Apollo Suites in Kileleshwa. Now, there is a client who walked into the suites on first sight, and within minutes, she had a deal.
Purchasing of property in Kenya is typically characterized by months of meticulous planning, thorough research, in-depth analysis, and disciplined savings. So, you best understand my shock when I learnt of Shukri Muhammad's start with King's Developers.
It was purely accidental. Me and my husband were having coffee downstairs, and my husband, who is very curious by nature, saw this building and he said, I have to go see the showroom. And he walked in. A minute later, I was being told, you have to come inside. This is going to be our home. I came and he wasn't joking. It was really nice apartment, very spacious.
Wow, so literally speaking, you had no intention of purchasing?
None whatsoever.
Yes, Shukri had no intention of buying a house, but stumbling upon King's Apollo Suites, fully furnished 3-bedroom apartments with the servants' quarters in Kileleshwa, her and her husband couldn't resist.
With me, it was the number of units per floor. It's 3 units per floor, which is a rarity in itself in this area. You'll have probably 12 to 10 units per floor, which can be very overcrowding. And this is very quiet, very intimate, and I thought this would be a good apartment for my family. There's a swimming pool, there's a cinema, which my teenage daughters would love to be in. Since the living room could be too overcrowded, they can invite their friends over. There's a gym. There's a running track, which is very unusual for me. I've never heard of a running track in an apartment like this. And my husband is really much interested in the running track as well.
The good thing about it is that it's a project where it stands out on its own. There isn't You can say, oh, we have this, we have that, but once you just see Apollo, there's just something that draws you to it, even with the scaffolding around it. I've told you, this is a building where it's being shaped on the petals of a flower. So already the design from outside will attract what you have. So once you step in, you can't go back like that. Once you go Kings, you can't go back. You step in and you're like, bas, settled. You know, the amenities here, we're trying to create a family-based home. So what are your kids looking for right now? Do they want to hang out outside or do they want to play games inside? Okay, we have the answer for you. We have both. So we'll give you the best of both worlds with the amenities and even with the spaciousness of this house. I've always told people, you can be in your master bedroom and you want to talk to somebody in the kitchen, you just have to call. So that's how big this house is. Even from the time you walk into the clock room, you've left all that is outside things there before you step in the sanctuary. If you go to the master bedroom, we are creating an atmosphere where whichever room you're in, you're feeling, man, this is a different world. So that's what King's Apollo Suites is all about, where we're giving your family a family-based home, and we're also giving you a unique personality inside your own apartment, where even if you're at work or you've traveled, you're like, I can't wait to go back home.
Location-wise, you're right next to a shopping center. We all know, with people with families, how convenient that could be. You know, I have 3 teenagers that will finish the fridge within a matter of hours. And also lifestyle-wise, my husband is an avid gym goer. There's a gym here. You know, I have smaller kids as well that can be in the playroom. There's the cinema. So a lot of things. It's lifestyle, also in location. It is unique with Kings, to be honest. It's very hard to find a new development of this size, modern, and quite close to a shopping center. Very convenient. There's a number of schools that are nearby. You know, you can have access to the CPD. Westlands is not too far. A lot of shopping center, you can be in Kilimani in a matter of minutes. For me, the kids' school is not too far from here, 10-minute drive, quiet roads. You can take walks in the afternoon. It's really ideal location for my family.
Indeed, the property basically sold itself, from the amenities to the location, design to the finishing. But the icing on the cake for Shukri came when they visited King's Developers HQ.
It was very straightforward, to be honest. The lady who showed us the showroom was very kind, very informative. She made an appointment with us to go see the head office. We went there, we were welcomed by one of the executives, I believe, Moyes. Really nice guy. He really talked us through all the process, made it seem very easy and seamless. And it was really smooth from then on.
When we treat you nicely, it's not a show. You'll go and tell your friends that these developers really went out of their way to advise me and tell me where to go, how to go about it. And so you tell your friends, because if you experience something good, you always want everyone to experience it. Imagine, we love you, but still, even your friends, you're already loving them, even before we meet you.
And it was the same pleasant experience when it came to matters payment.
We were coming in quite to the end of the development. We were not there from the beginning off plan or anything like that. And it's very close to completion, but they made it so for us that we would have a payment plan to suit us, and it will take us up to the date of completion, and it's really worked out well for us.
The good thing about us is that we have payment plans. So you're not paying the whole 30 million. For only 2 million a month, you can own this house after making a deposit of around 8 million. And then now you can lipa pole pole with us. We are an understanding developer where we're giving you time to pay, because sometimes money comes, money goes. So we are trying to shelter you from the other situations that you may have in your life, where you know Bado Kings understands you. So we just do something curated for you, where you don't have to feel overwhelmed that, oh my God, where am I going to get all this money? But haba na haba hujaza kibaba.
Now, Kings is not new to the real estate game. Currently, they have about 40 projects spread across the country with years of experience under their belt. This goes a long way in building trust.
We actually went to see a previous development of theirs that's almost 10 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And it was in good, well kept, very well maintained. The apartment looked almost new. And it's really hard to find these days. You get really nice showroom, and after a few years, you know, everything falls apart. I found that not to be the case with Kings. They really do stand behind their developments. And when we met up with one of the developers, he told us about the materials and the quality they put into their buildings, and how when they have a development, it really carries their name. It's not from the point of sale and they leave you. It's just the maintenance afterwards, and they really do put their name to their development.
Shukri's experience at Kings isn't unique to her. There are many more with similar stories who've chosen to invest with a real estate titan. So, for anyone out there still on the fence about Kings,
buying a house is something that is frowned upon, but when you come to Kings developers, you're going to think, this complicated process, kumbe it's not that complicated. It's a seamless, effortless process where you have friendly people who advise you and guide you. And at the end of the day, you're like, this one is done. Next. That's how I want, thank you, next, another one.
We trusted Kings, to be honest, and we did our homework. We looked into the background of the previous developments, and we have no reason to believe there will be any negative outcome. And also, you can tell a lot by a company by the way they deal with their customers. We were not buying a number of units, we were just buying a single unit, and we were welcomed into the head office. We actually sat with the executive, and he treated us like anyone. We felt quite special. And that just shows the level of customer care behind the scenes as well.
So I'm sure you can't wait to move in, right?
Absolutely, yes. I can move in tomorrow.
With those insights about investment opportunities at King's Apollo Suites in Kileleshwa, we come to the end of the show. Remember, we began by telling you how Bob Mwiti, the founder of International Scholars Program, flew his mathematics teacher to the US for a treat. Always a pleasure having your company. We look forward to meeting you again next week. Many thanks for watching.